Hey guys, it's Lauren, and I'll be explaining to you how to solve linear and quadratic systems. First off, what is a linear equation? Well, a linear equation is basically what it is, an equation of a line. A quadratic equation is the equation of a parabola and has at least one variable squared. For example, x squared, 2x squared, 4x squared, it all doesn't matter. Together, the two equations form a system of linear and quadratic equations. Now, to find the solution of both equations, you must first put both equations into the y format. Then, set them equal to each other. Once you've done that, simplify it into equals 0 format, as if it is a quadratic equation, but in standard form. Then solve the quadratic equation. Once you've solved the quadratic equation, you must then use the linear equation to calculate or match the values of y in order to get the points x and y as the solutions. Okay, now first let's start off with an example. Now, the difference between these two equations, and knowing that one of them is quadratic and one is linear, is that x is squared. You see that these two equations are already put into the y format, so nothing needs to be changed there. We must now set them equal to each other. So it was y equals x squared plus 4x plus 3, which is the quadratic equation, and then y equals 2x plus 6. You would then make it to where x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals the linear equation 2x plus 6. Then distribute to make all of the whole equation into 0. So subtract 2x from the equation, which would be x squared plus 2x plus 3 equals 6. Then you subtract 6, and the equation would be x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Oh, my mistake on that part, 2x, not just 2. Now you would solve the standard quadratic equation. So you'd put x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. To find the solution of this quadratic equation, you must put it in factored form. To find the solution of this quadratic equation, you must put it in factored form. To find the solution of this quadratic equation, you must put it in factored form. The formula used to factor a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals a times x minus r1, which is root 1, times x minus r2, and that is root 2. r1, r2 equals root 1 and 2. In first solving this equation, you wouldn't have to worry about the 0. The equation would just be x squared plus 2x minus 3. First, you need to find what the value of a times the c equals. So since there's no number in front of x, I just assume that it's 1. So 1 times negative 3 equals negative 3. And make sure the negative's out there. Now, what times what equals negative 3? So you do negative 1 and 3 works. 3 and negative 1. Now, these numbers right here would have to equal the b, which is 2x. You wouldn't have to worry about the x, just the number. So 1 minus 3, or negative 1 plus 3 equals 2. And 3 minus 1 equals 2. So this wouldn't really matter which one you use. So you'd write out x squared, or we'll use this one for now, x squared plus 3x minus x, and you wouldn't have to put a minus 1x because 1x equals x. So then you do x minus 3. And at this point, you do grouping. Okay. So you find the GCF of this grouping first, and that is x. So you do x times x plus 3. And then the next grouping for this one is 1. So you do, or negative 1. So you do minus 1 times x plus 3. Once you've gotten that, you put these two together, which would be x minus 1 times these two, or this one right here, because this one is the same as this one right here, and it would be x plus 3. And the roots are always opposite of what's inside the parentheses. So the root for this one would be x equals 1. And the root for this one is x equals negative 3. Now that we've found the roots of the quadratic equation, which is 1 and negative 3, we would plug it into the linear equation of y equals 2x plus 6. And we already know that root 1 equals x equals 1, and root 2 is x equals negative 3. Now, to find the solution of the linear equation, you would put y equals 2x plus 6, but you would substitute the roots in for x both times. So we'll start with the root 1 first. So y equals 2 times 1 plus 6. Y equals 2 because 2 times 1 equals 2 plus 6. That means this y equals 8. So the first solution or point for the x and y would be 1, 8. Now we plug in the second root, which is negative 3. So y equals 2 times negative 3, negative, plus 6. Y equals negative 3 times 2 equals negative 6 plus 6. And these two would cancel out, so y would just equal 0. So the second point or solution would be negative 3 and 0. So the set solution would be 1, 8, and negative 3, 0. And that is how you'd find the set solution of the quadratic equation x squared plus 4x plus 3 and the linear equation 2x plus 6. Now a little fun problem that you can work out yourself. Y equals negative x squared plus 2x plus 4, and the linear equation x plus y equals 4. Now notice that in the quadratic equation x is a negative, and notice that in the linear equation it is not set up in the y format. So I'll put the answer towards the end and you can check your work. So this is the final answer, 0, 4, and 3, 1. Now if you notice that in front of the two solutions, that they're on each side of the solution, that there are bracket looking thingies, this is called set notation. I forgot to mention the first example that I did to put this in each solution, before each solution and after the solution that you've written down. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace!